Hey, how's it going? Hope you all having a great week. It's been a while for me. I think it's been like a little over a month, but I've been just really busy. Let's see. Let me get my takes together, but I hope you all having a great week. Let me know in the chat what you've been up to. Let's see. So let me start with some pop culture news. So I think, or corrections from the last episode. I think in the last episode, I talked about my grandma, how she was, one, her mother died at childbirth, and then two, she was raised by another family other than her father. Her father kind of like disowned her at birth. And I think when I was telling that story, I think I realized she wasn't raised by her um aunts or uncles or anything like that, because like I remember when I was doing the 23andMe, like on my father's side of the family, I could go up like 3 or 4 generations deep, or at least 3 generations deep, and find that whole generation. With my grandmother's side of my mom's side, um it was getting extremely difficult to find her root family, because the name she was raised as was not her birth name. So I think she was raised by completely different people that were not blood related. Maybe it was somewhat close, but not blood related. But that was definitely a correction. I think that was one that sticks out. I'm trying to think if there's any other corrections that I mentioned. Um, Movie news. Um, I saw Sinners like 3 times. I'm open to see it again a fourth time. Like, I really enjoyed that movie. I think that's the last live that I had. I was like encouraging people. Like, I think Sinners was coming out like within a day or two. I was encouraging people to go see Sinners. I knew it was going to be kind of big. Didn't necessarily know it was going to be as big as it ended up being, but I knew it was going to be. At least for me, it was on my list of like, this is going to be a big deal for me. Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan. What's not to love about it? Um, Other movies I saw, I've been kind of like interested about the commotion about Minecraft. I'm not telling people to go see it, but like I know that it had been kind of like dominating, and in some ways kind of like terrorizing the theaters, the box office. So I was like, I want to go see what all the hoopla is about. That movie was a hoot, and it was kind of like great to see, like, a family friendly movie for once in a long time, and seeing like the kids like enjoying that property, the Minecraft property, and just the silly jokes within it. It had a little bit for the adults in it, but it had stuff for like families in general. So I thought that was cool. I was like, I could kind of see a little bit. I was like, for the people who are parents, I'm like, I kind of understood a little bit of like, the people who are parents, you get a little bit of joy from seeing the joy through your kids. And I was kind of like in the theater, like looking at them, like having the time of their life, like, laughing at all the corny jokes, or just being really excited about the movie that they thoroughly enjoyed. So I got to see Minecraft. I got to go see what else did I see? I got to go see Marvel's Thunderbolts. It wasn't a bad movie, but I was just like, I don't want to ever see this movie again. And that's speaking. It's again, it was not a bad movie. It was just it didn't follow the typical Marvel formula, and some movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe don't either, but I still love them. I'm a Marvel stan, so it's kind of hard for me to be kind of like, oh, I don't want to see this movie again. There's maybe like a few movies where I feel like that, and it was just the movie felt like a DC Comics movie. I was just like, this is just not fun. And Marvel movies are just that one of their formula things, keys to the formula is just like they put out a lot of silly and fun movies. This movie was just, it had a little bit of fun, but it was just too serious for its own good. And I'm like, I just don't want to see this ever again. Let me see what else. What else were there any other movies? I'm seeing possibly seeing Ballerina this weekend. I got to go see this movie called, I think, The Killer of the Sheep. So like, if people know about Most Def, he had this album called The Ecstatic, I think, and it's like this kid jumping over the a building that still came from the movie. It was like the epitome of struggle. Like it was somebody's, like, the director, it was like his like a student film, and I was like, this was ridiculously good as a student film. And I go see the Atlanta Film Festival movies every single year, which can have student films in them. But I was like, this was like, the movie The Killer of the Sheep. I think I could be butchering the name of the title. I'll correct it in the next stream if I do. But it was like it was like it should have been like it should have had some Oscar buzz. Whatever year it was made. I think it was made like in the 80s or earlier than that or whatever. But I'll try to bring some stats for it next show. Let me see if there's anything else. If we go to like pop culture news, I'm not going to talk about too much, but Stephon Diggs, Cardi B, the infamous boat incident and the pink substance, that was interesting, and whether he's going to get released from the New England Patriots. There's also the NBA Finals is starting tomorrow. I mean, my bracket is busted. I was, telling the person who kind of like does pest control over my house. I was like, hey, I think I see the Cavs winning it all. If I don't see the Cavs winning it all, I see Boston going out the East. On the West, I just don't respect these Thunder. I think it's going to be the Clippers or the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets took the Clippers. I mean, they took the I think they took the Clippers and the Thunder to get to Game 7s, but they lost against the Thunder. So I was like, man, all my picks were trash. And he was telling me like, I think the Thunder are gonna win it or go at least get to the finals. I'm like, fuck. Like, so my predictions were trash. I'm trying to think about what else. I think that might be it for like pop culture. We're gonna speak about another one. Let's just jump into it. Let me find the banner for it. Offset. I think they've been like in a ongoing divorce, but the quotable or the recent news was that he filed for spousal support from Cardi B. Interesting enough, the Manosphere men, they didn't have shit to say about it. They only but if Cardi B had filed for spousal support from Offset, they would be making a whole fucking week or a month of content. But I think this is kind of like one of the things about the Manosphere, like they're kind of idiots. They don't understand that like spousal support goes both ways, buddy. It depends on who makes more in the financial situation or health of both of the people in the marriage. So it's like they just think that some of these laws are just like, oh my God, they're against men. It's like, no, you idiot. It's just that the guy ended up deciding to marry somebody who did not have a career or didn't work during the marriage. Yes, he's going to part way with some money. But if the guy got with a woman who made more, or things kind of took a turn for the worse, and the guy, whatever, let's just say the divorce ends with him in a worse financial situation, it can end up the person's entitled and probably will how do I want to say it, will be given some type of like a more favorable split, or even some of these extra things like child support or alimony and things like that. And like I said, again, black men don't really, or men in general, just don't really understand that there's stipulations to this alimony. I guess I'll say something about that. Growing up, like I said, like I came from a trad kind of household, and my introduction to some of these trad wives was I got to see a lot of these trad wives in destitute situations. Like when I'll talk about two of them. One of them, I'm not sure they were married, but I think this person had like 4 or 5 kids, maybe 5 kids, and she was like maybe in her 30s or late 20s, and she married like a doctor. He left her, and I remember my mom taking us over to her house, the marital home. I remember the spousal, the family home after the father had moved out, and just bringing food, probably helping her financially. So these women who get left or they get divorced, they're not like living in a lap of luxury all the time. Another one is another woman who married a doctor. I think the father filed for divorce. The mom might have got some alimony. I don't know the whole situation because, again, I was a child while this happened. But I remember it had ran out, and it might have run out like a decade ago. And they might have been a divorce probably for a good 15, 20 years, maybe more. And now she's probably like in her 70s working in like the food service industry, like working at like Applebee's or like Jason's Deli or something like that. So there's people who get alimony. Let's be clear about that. If they mismanage that the alimony, they're not getting any more. And that alimony does not necessarily last forever. I think there might be certain situations, certain states where it can, or depending on the length of that marriage. But it's not. I think men have this misconception that like, oh my God, any woman who's awarded alimony, oh my God, she's set for life. She's never gonna have to work. Nobody. And again, when some of these mothers, don't have or never had a career, that alimony is really critical. So I think, I would really love for Black men to kind of look at marriage, look at marriage a little bit differently, or divorce, and realize, regardless of who's splitting the assets, the intent is to try to make sure that the other person is okay. And understanding that when the divorce is over, you can't go back to that spouse and get additional spousal support, and probably without, probably maybe in some extreme cases, but it's just like, we'll talk a little bit more about divorce a little bit later. Let me, I had like let me not talk about this one yet. I just want to talk about this briefly. I think this is going to be really interesting. I don't think we'll ever understand the true story, but like, this was a huge turn of events of how, I think the last time I was doing the stream, Elon Musk was Teslas their stock had plummeted. Elon Musk was trying to save face. He was trying to make people love Tesla again, bring it to the White House, doing a whole car show at the White House, essentially. And now he's on the outs. And it was rumored to say that when Trump's big beautiful bill came out, he had some things to say about it, said it kind of undermined Doge. But now he's out, apparently. I don't know if it's official, but like, that was the rumors as of like last week. Let's see. Oh, it's Wacky World. Let's see. Hold on. Majority of males are not assuming that Alma said no. I don't know. I mean, I'll take that, Wacky World. I just don't know if I 100% believe it. I think that even if we say that that's true, I think the majority of men kind of look at it and say, why did I have to split up? Why did I have to split up assets? Why did I have to, pay this person this? Why is this person's not entitled to this? And it's like, part of this is that, like I said, there's, kind of specific situations of like, that person might not have a career. It might be very hard, if not impossible, for that person to get back into the workforce and earn a living. So, and it's also when people get divorced, probably both sides of the house, it is difficult to get yourself reestablished. It takes a little bit of that too. Regardless of like the validity of what you just said, Wacky World, Black men are going way too far with their fear of alimony. It's not what they think it is. And I don't think they have any idea of like what that would look like on their level of income. It probably won't even happen. As we've talked about in previous lives, I think in Black divorces, alimonies only involve like 7% of Black divorces. And it's not, and when alimony is awarded, it's not a flat 50%. It's a specific calculation. Let's go here. Nonetheless, that's the reason why they found alimony. Wow. No, that's not necessarily true, because this is, I think, one of the problems is that men are kind of too consumed, in my opinion, on the lives of other men that are outside of their tax bracket, up or down. Maybe even in different countries, completely different situations, and we don't get to understand the reason. We're not in the courtroom. We're not shooting with them. We're not shooting with them in the gym in terms of the judges. We don't really understand what's going on, or we don't understand the formulas. We're not lawyers. It's not our business. But I think this time, specifically in this day and time, like Black men and just men in general are just butting their nose in a lot of business that they have no business butting their nose into. They need to focus on themselves. Like you at some point, you got to stop trying to make your decisions through the opinions and the decisions and the approval of other men. And we're going to get into that because we're going to be talking about like Travis Hunter, but it's like I don't think they really understand alimony. I don't think they understand, like, again, in Black divorces, it's only awarded 7%. And so it's not really coming to the guys who are really concerned about it. It's coming to guys who make a lot of money and have a significant income disparity, between them and their spouse. For the average Joe, there won't be a significant income disparity between them and their spouse, because these young black men, or even geriatric at this in this day and age, black men, they don't earn enough to really have any type of impactful alimony. You just text me, post what it didn't make sense. But anyway, I don't know if I want to talk about the statue. What I'll say about the statue is, I'll try to make it short. Like, I know Femi, aka Chat Take a Bite, she did like a virtuoso performance of the statue, videos about the statue. I'll say, I think it was extremely immature to see the reactions to it. I think from her video, some people were saying, hey, the statue needs to represent the best of us. No, it doesn't. It's just a regular everyday person. And nobody takes that opinion when they go to like an art exhibit. They don't, look at something that's a black person and say, oh my gosh, I see myself in this all the time. Maybe you see a certain feature, but it does not look like you. So for this statue that was kind of like a everyday black woman, plus size black woman, you don't have to look at it and say, oh my God, this didn't represent me. It's not about you. I think that's one of the problems with just like society in general, specifically, this social media, how it's influenced us it's kind of like made us extremely selfish, and people are looking at it and saying like, everything is all about me. That's why I think that's one of the main reasons why, Wacky World, that we're kind of talking about, to go back to the previous conversation about the divorce court and it's the black men's fear of divorce. Getting married is not so much about you as it is sacrificing for someone else, trying to maybe even create a family. And you can't keep looking at some point. And I said this on This Must Be Risky podcast. It's like, black men, I think, in my opinion, just my opinion, there's not enough pressure on us to stop acting like we're 20 years old. At some point, you have to grow up, and you can't stop acting like a 20-year-old. So we're gonna do a typical Chris segue. What I mean by that is like when Kevin Samuels said, "Don't date single moms." Okay, that makes sense while you're 20 years old or you're a teenager. It doesn't make sense anymore when you become like 35 plus, specifically the 40 plus variety. You can't necessarily have that opinion. It's not saying, oh, the only people you date are going to have kids. No. But I'm saying the time to date people, to have certain opinions like that, we're a much younger age. But I think Kevin Samuels has kind of like put a battery in men's back to say, man, we're all better than dating a single mom. Mind you, 80% of black men have kids at like 40, 45. So a lot of these men who are kind of like beating their chests like gorillas, they got kids and they're acting like idiots because like, it's creating this kind of like tribalism in men where it's like, oh, we should all not date single moms, no matter what the age. And it's like, no, like everybody's got different experiences. I think we're starting to lose the point of why we're doing some of these things. It is, do you love that woman? We talked about this, for, last year and for other streams of like, this notion of the manosphere kind of like weaponizing the body count, saying you should not even you should feel ashamed of yourself if you're dating a single mom. You should feel ashamed of yourself if the woman you're with has had sex with more than like 5 men. Mind you, these men have had sex with more than 5 women, but it's an accepted double standard. It doesn't make sense. And I think us as men, it's just kind of like, well, it is what it is. That doesn't mean it might be, two things can be true. It is what it is might be true, but it is stupid too. And it is harmful. Hold on. No, yeah, I listen, I agree with you, Wacky World, but I'm saying it took on a life of its, it took on a bigger impact when Kevin Samuels said it. Certain things like not dating single moms, maybe the body count thing, that existed too. But I'm saying this is starting to influence, in my opinion, I think the influence it took on a bigger impact since the manosphere. We've had, so like the incels, the alt-right, the red pillars. Those weirdos like those always existed. And the internet has been out since like what, the 90s or something like that. But it wasn't until people started to weaponize some of these men's rights groups or these alt-right groups where this started to really start to dating started to get really more difficult as people start to weaponize this and take this social media stuff into real life. So yeah, I agree with you. It's not saying that like people didn't have strong opinions, but Wacky World, a decade, 2 decades ago, the opinions about them were not exactly the same. And we've had this podcast about this. We had like a men's panel specifically where I think we addressed this issue about like, was this concern about dating single moms such a bigger issue for the men who are now like mid 50s and later? And the answer was no. It's not. It was not this strong of an opinion. It's changed over time. Let me go back to, so we talked about the Cardi B thing. We talked about the statue. I think I'm done talking about the statue, but I would just say go watch Femi's videos. I thought they were incredible. It just kind of made me think about like how, we can't really have nice things because of this kind of culture, whether it's Black Twitter or whatnot, of just like all this infighting, all this, it's always got to be cracking a joke on somebody's work. Travis Hunter got married, but now we want to crack jokes about how he's dancing or how ugly people think he is. And it's like, can we celebrate things? Or does everything have to always be a joke? I know DDS, I had like a podcast with him maybe like a month ago, and he was trying to tell me like all this manosphere stuff it's just nigga time. Meaning it's just time for Black people to just act silly. And I'm like, the problem with that is like, the content that a lot of people are putting out here is not just for fun. The Black MAGA, they're not doing this shit just for fun. They're doing this to disparage people. Like I said, the content I make, I crack jokes on here sometimes, but what I'm not going to do is put out stuff that is that's backing racist tropes. I'm not going to be doing things to disparage Black women. And when I try to hold Black men accountable, it's because I see better in us. I want us to be better. I think the key for us to be better, it's overwhelmingly weighted in the Black men's bucket. Black men want to point the finger in this manosphere at women and say, become more, embrace chastity, choose better. Well, I guess we'll step on some of the content. How do you choose better when only 35% of Black men are married? 52% of them get married in their lifetime. They're out of wedlock. I think I've seen studies saying like 60, maybe even like 80%. The numbers don't back that statement of choose better. It doesn't. Men who are dating, you could say that about us. You could say, choose better, because the stats prove that there are much more opportunities for us to actually choose better. But I'm gonna move on from that. I really wanted to, another little old shit. But I'm gonna go off my memory. I forgot to like save the video and the timestamp, but I think we've all seen it by this point. Again, I thought this was again another missed opportunity by Black men. You would think all she really did was kind of call out toxic masculinity, which I think hits really hard for Black men, or just men in general, specifically Black MAGA and conservative men. But all she really did was kind of say, I really have lost confidence in dating men my age, because she's like 53, 55 maybe. And she said, I'm going to just date younger. And men, instead of taking that as an alley-oop and saying, you know what, these dudes fumbled a bag. These dudes got a talking to. These guys really must be must be trash. Instead of saying that, like, hey, there's an opportunity to date Tracy Ellis Ross, kind of, but not really. they wanted to take up for these geriatric misogynistic black men. And she openly said, like, I'm dating younger. She said, I'm tired of the kind of misogynistic, patriarchal, in other words, I'm paraphrasing, behaviors or mindsets of 50-year-old men, men in her age bracket. And like I said, like, I think younger men should have looked at that and said, there's an opportunity. She's dating younger. How young? It's not gonna be Shannon Sharp young, and we're gonna get into that. But she's probably dating people in their late to mid 40s, maybe going to higher 30s. And like I said, I was just really disappointed at seeing black men kind of come to the defense. And I'm starting to see that in this space. When you hold bad actors in the male community, when you call them to the Summer Jam screen, all men are going to just come back and just defend them instead of saying, hey, you know what, these men were terrible. We don't want to be like these guys. We're going to discourage men from acting like this. They're just going to come back and say, I didn't like the fact that you called out toxic masculinity. I don't really, me personally, I don't take offense to it because I know that there's some dudes who ain't shit. I'm not defending them. I'm not backing them. I'm not saying I'm not tone policing the people who are trying to hold them accountable, because we know good and well, manosphere men, they don't have any problem railing against women on panels or just women in general, how they treated Tracy Ellis Ross and tried to twist her words, twist her reality. I thought was disgusting. But so my thing was just I think that, again, it was really just disappointing to see like black men's reactions to the Tracy Ellis Ross situation, and just when there's an opportunity to learn, take constructive criticism, men are just going to become more defensive. So there was maybe a couple of videos that I saw in the last month or so that kind of like highlighted that. Tracy Ellis Ross one being another one. Shannon Sharp, I think the last time I posted, I think the Shannon Sharp fiasco maybe happened like a day or a week, a couple of days or a week like after I did my last live, and I was like, shit, this shit's getting old now. But I did want to kind of get my take on it. It's like I was so disappointed in Shannon Sharp. I was a huge fan. I think, Club Shay Shay was getting kind of old. It was getting kind of a little boring with the long form interviews. I do like his little short clips. I'm more of a fan now of Nightcap with Ocho Cinco. It's kind of a better take of sports media than waiting for Stephen A. the next morning or waiting for some of the other people the next morning in the big media. But as I was saying to like people around me, I was like, I'm a huge fan of Shannon Sharp, but I hate to say it, I'm kind of glad this happened to someone like him, because the manospheric men aren't going to listen or pay attention at all about mistakes that are being made, unless it's a big figure like a Diddy or a Shannon Sharp or something like that. And I think it's good that it was him to show people that these so-called high value men, they make horrible decisions. These high value men are not people that we should necessarily aspire to. It looks great on paper. Shannon Sharp probably looked the best of maybe anybody we can name on paper. But this doesn't look good. And again, similar to like the Tracy Ellis Ross situation, what did men take away, specifically black men, take away from the Shannon Sharp issue? Oh, he's being extorted. All right. If that's all you saw from that, okay. I think I look at it and I see like, I'm trying to get my talking points together. Give me a second. I just think that I see like a history of bad decision making. He's allowing. I was kind of in the Lapeef chat saying like, I'm willing to put it on the table. This guy might be a sex addict, and it's like, I'm saying like, I think he needs to maybe think about getting some help or looking into that, because it's like we saw that thing happen with the 19-year-old. I didn't, like I said, I didn't read all the details about it. There was some really the text messages were leaked. And I think there was some BDSM kind of things coming involved or whatever the heck. But it's just like, I think he's got a history. Even at Fox News, it didn't come out until the 19-year-old situation, the OnlyFans situation came out. but he has paid hush money to cover some things up. He's kind of got a little bit of a history of his, I guess, his sex life, compromising his professional life. So I think I'm just look at my talking points, but it's just like I think one of the things I learned from the Shannon Sharp situation was like, if one of the things that we need to take away from that is we need to kind of look at the notion of a high value men with a different lens. The story doesn't end well with high value men. It doesn't. And and in my opinion, listen, like I said, they look great on paper, but these are not kind of men I want to aspire to be. Like I said, like the story doesn't end well. And I can speak from personal experience. Like when I was in Vegas, we had the girls collection little situation. And I was saying on the live stream in Vegas, I was like, man, if I had the married woman or someone who I was dating in Vegas, I would have made some better decisions. But the talking point I wrote down, and I've said to some people in real life, was like a man without a wife. I'm not speaking about all men, but this definitely is true for some men. A man without a wife is a very impulsive, vulnerable, and arrogant man. So fixating on the vulnerable, like I think one of the things that Tracy Ellis Ross needs to get flowers for, where Shannon Sharp kind of fumbled, was I loved her answer about, hey, I am dating, but I'm only going to date people who are running in the same circles as me and have the same kind of roughly the same amount of stuff to lose. So that notion that they say in the manosphere, like a man would marry a woman at McDonald's or date a man at McDonald's. I mean, do it if you want to. I'm hoping that you're doing it for some good reasons. But again, going back to the Tracy Ellis Ross point, when you date people who are relatively in your same circles, who have the same amount to lose, you're kind of protecting yourself. And I'm sure not only that, I'm sure she's having people sign NDAs, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Shannon Sharp did. I think that was a big mistake too. But again, it brings up, why is a 53-year-old dating a 19-year-old? Why? And I kind of got mad at like the culture of men because like they kind of prop up a woman, her beauty peaks at a certain time or certain age, and I think it's ridiculous. So it's like I really worry about like the manosphere men of like, are they even relationship or marriage material, because they look at things in almost like I don't know, like a metric point of view of like, this person is losing value to me because what their the value that they appreciate, I guess it's fleeting, and according to them. So it's like they're just a really interesting bunch of people, and I'm sure that the people that they interact with could really tell some really colorful stories. Let me go to the chats. Let's see. Hold on. I'd love to hear your point of view of like why she's damaged goods. Like I've been saying on these podcasts, this is a good segue. I almost forgot the talking point. Like I don't think that they should avoid. I disagree. I don't think that they should avoid Tracy Ellis Ross. I've been saying, listen, if I had an opportunity to date Taraji or Tracy Ellis Ross, I would do it. Like I don't know. When I heard Tracy Ellis Ross talk bad about the 50-year-old man and say like, and basically say she's dating younger, I was kind of like doing an Arsenio Hall moment, saying like, whoa, listen, there's an opportunity for your boy to actually get a date. I just need to run in the same circles. So like, I'm like, listen, she's checking for people in my demographic. If I was a 50-year-old plus man, I'd be maybe a little salty because she's bringing to light that there's some problems with that cohort. To that point, I'm trying not to lose my point. I think that I love the fact that she had the courage to speak out about this. I would really love to hear more women speak up about this stuff, because Wacky World, like the manosphere is kind of like brainwashing people, telling them like, you'll hear them say like, "Oh, black women make less than black men. Black women are less married than black men." And sure, those are true, and they're probably changing. But they also go to the second one is about, oh, black women, when they try to flex, oh, black men are married more than black women. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think all men are married more than the women for every single race, because men control the access to marriage. They're the ones who are proposing. But the thing is this, um, the manosphere also put forth this idea that black men are like amongst the most healthy of men, compared to, we're in the top ranks of healthiest men, regardless of race. That's a lie. They'll say 80% of the men, 80%, 20% of the men are creating 80% of the children. That's a lie. They say that, let me see what else. They'll say that they're not near the bottom in income. That's a lie. They will say that, let me see what else. I mean, they'll talk about paternity fraud. That's a lie too, but that's not really based on race. Um, they'll say black men hardly have children. That's a fucking lie. um, let's see what else. I'm trying to look down my talking points. They'll say that women only go for Chads, Pookies, and Tyrones. That's not. They'll say the average man does. The average black woman doesn't give the average black man a chance. That's a lie. Um, they'll even say, and it's a little controversial, they say like black men are the most present fathers. We want Maury to bring out the paper and do the analysis on that one, but I think that's a lie too. Let me see what they'll say. Most guys don't have any dates or aren't sexually active. We know in the black community that's not true. So again, going back to your point, and I wanted to kind of back that up on Chat GPT. I might whip it out today, but because I have a talking point about like manspheric men are bad with math. So you said younger men should stay away from Tracy Ellis Ross. I'd love to hear your point. Why? Because it's like, I understand to one angle. People are dating for different reasons. Let's address that. And so, like me, I know that Tracy Ellis Ross is going through menopause. I think she's like at least in perimenopause right now. I want to have kids. That's something that I'm still trying to consider doing. I know a future with Tracy Ellis Ross would not be feasible at this moment, at this juncture. That's not going to stop me from going on a date. Like, I would love to go on a date with Tracy Ellis Ross, just maybe even get to know Tracy Ellis Ross, stuff like that. But I know that a future, just the age gap, just where we're at in life biologically, and the path, the directions we want to go forward, and just don't line up. If I was someone who didn't want to have kids, that would be a whole different outcome. But like I said, I disagree. I think that, Wacky World, you can learn, in my opinion, you can learn a lot of people from the people you date, if you're dating with the right intentions. Who knows what type of stuff you can learn about yourself, or just in general, or just the experiences you can have when you date someone, regardless of the age, as long as you're, I guess, attracted to them. So I don't agree. Like, I don't understand why we're coming off saying she's damaged goods. Like I said, like, some people, depending on what you want out of life, it might not link up with her. But like I said, I don't agree. But I think you're coming at the standpoint of like, well, if a younger man wants to get married, he probably shouldn't marry Tracy Ellis Ross. I don't know. I'm not 100% on that, but like, it's not for everybody. Some people like to date, people their age. I think male culture, patriarchy, misogyny specifically, likes to try to bully people away from that. It's trying to put the younger woman on the pedestal for whatever reason. And I think what we've been learning, and I didn't make a banner for it, these old fogies who are dating younger women, it's not working out for them. They're kind of crashing out because of their situations, not because of their situations. We have Shannon Sharp, he's gonna probably lose his ESPN gig. His reputation is gonna probably take a huge hit. Things are going to come to light that probably or wouldn't have come to light because of this. And Bill Belichick, I think that's since the last stream, it's kind of calmed down, and so has the Shannon Sharp stuff. It's kind of calmed down, but the Bill Belichick was getting some heat. He's still not out of the woods. He might get dropped by UNC, and people are starting to like look under the hood of his relationship and say, "This is kind of a weird situation. Is this an escort? What is this situation?" So, to me, I think these older, younger women, egregiously younger women situations, they're really weird, and we really should look at the Shannon Sharp situation. I think it's weird. A lot of men just look at it and say, "Well, he can do whatever he wants." He can, and that was still weird. And I think what Bill Belichick is doing is weird. What Roger Kraft is doing is weird. Let me go to this. Shannon Sharp is a coon. Anyhow, he shouldn't have wasted his time what's wrong with sex workers. I agree. Listen, Wicky, we're agreeing. I don't necessarily agree with the coon. I get where you're coming from, but I really agree with that second point. Like, he shouldn't have wasted his time with sex workers. But I'll say this: it depends on what he wants. He can mess around with sex workers if he wants to. I think that it's not the smartest thing in the world. So that's where I think I agree with you. And the teenager makes it even it just blows that completely out of the park of like, this doesn't make any sense at all. You have children that are like 30 and you go down to 19. What are we doing here? And like, I think it speaks to kind of like how we don't really hold men accountable enough. We don't really set standards for men to kind of grow up. As I was saying on the This Must Be Risky podcast, like, black men, I think that a lot of black men are the culture of black men. It's kind of like encouraging us to be 20 years old, stay 20 years old, and not, hey, why are you like, where's your wife at, or why are you moving like this? You're a certain type of age. That just doesn't get checked. So like with the Kevin Samuels stuff, it's if you become a high value man, you could just go date a 20-year-old. If you're a childless man, you can just go date a 20-year-old. If you age gap it's better than dating someone your age. The people your age got trauma. The people your age are what you call damaged goods. It's toxic. But I get it. It's just so where I agree with you on the point, Wacky World, is like, he can do so much better. And like I said, than just dealing with sex workers. But everybody's got a different lifestyle. But I think that it goes back to my point of like, a man who's not married, that is a very vulnerable man. It's a very impulsive man. It's the decision making is kind of suspect of those men in certain situations, some more than others. But when these men I go back to the high value man point of like, these men who, young and old and whatever, idolize the high value men. Look at what they're going through, what we see come out in the media and what's not coming out in the media. Shannon Sharp is going to lose a ton of money. I think he was up for like a $40 million podcast deal. That is going to be drastically impacted. I just think that it's just poor decision making. And I've seen stuff, videos, Wacky World, where it says like, really, when a older man does age gap, there's a couple things in there, Wacky World. One, the marriages, if they're doing what they claim to do, because they're like, men value fertility, maybe they want to have more kids, or maybe they want to get married. The stats prove that the age gap marriages, the divorce rate increases with that age gap. So that's not good. And then I'm trying to remember the second one. It's just like, I think I lost my second point, but it's just like, we've got to stop trying to set these unrealistic standards, because it's really blocking people's blessings. Wacky World. Monique said it best. She said, like, you need to kind of get someone your own age, relatively his own age. And I think that was honestly the best thing for him. Marriage is not necessarily in the cards for everybody, but it's like a 19-year-old. I mean, facepalm. Let me go. Let's see what else is going on. So I think we can start getting to some content. I think this is kind of like the topic of the show for real. Again, extremely disappointed this year in how black men of different ages. This is not just a young man thing. Really disappointed at how black men handled this Travis Hunter situation. Extremely disappointed. Let me just try to get into some content. Let me find some links. We're gonna show something first before we get there. Sorry, because I forgot to show something. Share screen. Window. Give me a second. Oh boy. This is not. I think we're close. Hold on. Entire screen. I'll just do the whole entire screen. Fuck it. I was looking at I was asking ChatGPT different things. I think I was kind of asking the question about how do black men fare compared to other men of other races compared to health. Again, the black manosphere would try to tell you, oh, black men are the most healthy men. They're up there, one of the most healthiest men. Life expectancy for black men 67, 69 years. I think I queried it on my phone, and it was saying, or my iPad, and I think it was saying something to the effect of only Native American men who have a life expectancy of 65 years. They're the only men who have lower life expectancy. So I'm getting a little bit of different answers from my iPad to this. So leading cause of death, heart disease. So I'm gonna skim on my You're not gonna see it on this because I got different results on my iPad. It said black men, key health disparities. I don't think it's showing it here. It's not showing it here. Hold on. It is saying lowest life expectancy for black men. Chronic diseases, they have higher rates. Let's see, mental health. We'll touch on this, but it seems like the stat the point was mental health support access. Black men have the lowest utilization of mental health services. Put that down. Put that in your memory. Remember that, please. Let's see, health coverage lower. Homicidal rate highest of all men. Let's see. Life expectancy lowest, but like I said, Native Americans are lower just by a year or two. So on my iPad, I'm seeing black men have the highest rate of heart disease. I think the next closest is Native Americans. Hypertension, more likely. Diabetes, higher prevalence than white and Asian men. Cancer, higher incidence. I think we talked about some of the other ones. Let's see what else. They said, let's scroll down here. I think this is kind of similar to what I see on the iPad, but it says contributing factors, and this one on here it says socioeconomic and structural factors. For me, it's saying on the iPad, it's saying structural racism and inequalities affecting their health outlook, lower rates of access to quality healthcare, chronic stress from discrimination, socioeconomic disparities, medical mistrust, and higher incarceration rates. So let's see what it says on the computer. It's saying poverty and socioeconomic status, racial discrimination, similar things, but exposure to environmental toxins. Let's see, living in underserved communities, limited access to food, quality healthcare. Okay. Let's turn off the sharing for now. Let me find this link for Travis Hunter. I just want to show that. I think I'm going to start committing, remembering those stats as I get on these panels and they try to hit me with the debate bros of black men are they're in a better position than black women. We're healthier. We're this, we're that. Cause they love shoving down your throat black women are the most obese and overweight. We're gonna get into that. We have a clip to show about that. But like black men are like they're living in a different reality. They're a very delusional one. As I've been trying to say, and I've been starting to learn over the last month or two, black men lead all the men in ED, erectile dysfunction. You do not get erectile dysfunction being healthy. You don't. You get it from high blood pressure. You get it from diabetes. You get it from hypertension. You get it from probably some other things. Black men they are not healthy on average after a certain age, and black men need to get a grip on reality, to at least know. Because I think when we believe these falsehoods, when we believe that, as our grandparents would say, our fat meat is not greasy, it's impossible for us to solve these problems if we don't believe they're problems in the first place. It's gonna really harm us from, or prevent us from, seeing how we impact problems if we don't believe that we are a part of the problem in the first place. Let me close some windows first. Give me a second. But again, I wanted to just show that. So let's get to some Travis Hunter stuff, because that was like the topic really of the show. So share screen. What? Let's go to this. Let's go to Travis Hunter. So Travis Hunter's been on a major run. I think as they said, like, he got his jersey retired, he got drafted to the NFL, he number 2, graduated, I think it was magna cum laude. I think he was like, had like a 3.7 GPA. He got married. So it shows all the different little pictures. I think he got married like maybe like a week or two ago, and like black men were having a fucking fit, as they were having a fit when he was his last year, and he was starting to be a little bit more in the media, and people were starting to dig up old clips and maybe misconstrue what was going on with those clips. But they wanted to put out this fake concern of like, I'm so concerned for you. You should not be dating this woman. She might be promiscuous, blah, 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 blah. She doesn't love you. She's taking advantage of you. She's cucking you. She's doing all these things. And it's just like, it got me thinking that, like, so in the manosphere, they talk about, hey, black women, there were men in your 20s that would have married you and you overlooked them. So when a man does come here and wants to get married in his 20s, the manosphere is not talking about the influence of men that are going to try to discourage him from getting married. They're not talking about that. And that's significant because, like I said, like in the stats, black men don't really get married. They lead all men who in their lifetime never get married. 52% of black men don't get married, compared to like 36% of white men. I'll have to look up the stats after the show and see like what are the stats for the other races. But what Travis Hunter did in terms of getting married at 22, I think, listen, salute to him. And I hope that his marriage is successful. I think that's the only thing that we need to be saying. We should not be, wishing, negative things on him. We should not be focused on divorce court and alimony that could be possibly paid. We should not be thinking about that. I think even like I'd love to pull up the receipts, but I think when LeBron James got married, and I think he was with Savannah even since high school, people probably had some things to say early on, judging him maybe about how young he got married, judging him the woman he picked. So I think there's similar things with Travis Hunter of like, well, you have the world is your oyster. Why would you pick this? And why did you get married? And why didn't you protect yourself more? And you can lose a whole lot of money, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, that's not the purpose. The purpose is, this is a man that was able to achieve something that 52% of black men never do in their lifetime. And I think it got me very concerned of like, I wanted to say too is like, people who get married, it's not that they completely ignore the risks. It's just that like that that can help self-sabotage your situation if you fixate on that. Like there's a difference between, some research, knowing, maybe having a little bit of light concern and just being obsessed. And I think what like a lot of these black men that have been like critiquing, whether they're regular people or celebrities that have been critiquing Travis Hunter, they've been obsessed. And after a certain point, whether this is Travis Hunter is your relative or brother or you're just a fan, you got to let it go and let these people be happy. What the kind of scrutiny that he's going through, even though he deleted his social media, and I think that was an awesome idea. People they've been just trolling it up. He's been going through a lot of scrutiny, and it's not fair to have to go through that at that age or just period. Like marriage is hard enough. You have influences of other people, whether it's friends, haters, family members, whatever. Life can be hard, and so forth. And it's like they don't need that extra stress put on them. They just don't. It's just really toxic. And I just think that like I said with the title of the show, it's like any black man that gets married, you gotta salute that man because he beat some steep odds. He beat a culture that is actively and historically discouraging men to do this. Choosing to, especially in this day and time, choosing to look at the negatives and just saying this negative thing outcome is gonna happen, and look at how bad it could be when it ends. It's like, why do we want to focus on that? Like, let's enjoy this. Let's try to, hope that this works out for the best. But it's just like most men, I think a lot of men who've been saying these things or having these critiques, they never got married in the first place. So like, let me go find my talking points for this. Give me a second. Trying to pick those talking about points back up. Yeah, it's just like, let me find out. Let me find my talking points. Let's see. So like, it's not just about the people who get married young. Let me just stop the share. We don't need to do this. It's also, we got people like Russell Wilson, married, maybe found the love of his life in Sierra. But I think she had one kid. And this is a guy who's, again, another NFL player. He's rich. There's not going to be a situation where this dude is going to be destitute. And people railed against him for a lot of different reasons. Why date a single mom? Two, he just ragging on him about, calling him corny or something like that. So again, like these black men who are getting married, like they're beating the odds. But I want to get back to the point between like Russell Wilson and Travis Hunter. These guys are super rich. There's no situation, like I said, that they're going to ever be destitute. They're not going to be poor. They're really not going to take a L if these relationships end. And I think black men gotta kind of have to look at that too and say, but there will be some like division of assets. That's just adulting. Black men have been just so brainwashed with this notion that they're going to be destitute if they get divorced. When I think I said it on a podcast 3 or 4 weeks ago, of like, there are more successfully married couples than black men who have paid 50% in alimony and are in a destitute situation. I think most men, whether they're black or not, this is just an urban myth. This is just something they've heard on the internet or heard through other stories or just heard from fear mongering. They've never met a man like that in real life. They know, and if they do, they know a whole lot more men who have been successfully married than are in destitute situations and are paying half of alimony. Let me look at some other talking points. So I said kind of like, um, I think I said it maybe in the last podcast. It's like it's funny to me how these men are scared of marriage. They're scared of like parting ways with assets that might not be on their terms, but they're willing to have kids out of wedlock, which is going to like put them in the same situation. I think I don't know if I said on this podcast or another one, is that I think it was a Lapiv chat, is like, this only makes sense if you do not have kids. If you are scared of marriage, if you're scared of parting ways with assets and paying alimony or child support, then you just have to not have kids. And then you have avoided all those pitfalls. The minute you have out of wedlock kids, you are now you're now a walking hypocrite. Because you're putting yourself really, you're kickstarting / jumpstarting the financial hemorrhage, versus, as I've maybe said on this podcast, it's like marriage should be looked at as a way to like build wealth. It's not to say that a marriage can't end in divorce. Mine, 13 years, it ended in divorce. But I'm not in a destitute situation. But it also comes with risk. It also is gonna, if it ends in a divorce, if it ends in divorce, it can like, there could be some grief or some regret that comes with that. Just like anything, just about anything in life. But I wrote down that like black men are scared to brick. And I'm really kind of questioning whether they're so scared to give up assets, because like I said, they're not scared to have kids out of wedlock. And that's going to cause them to give up assets. And I look at kind of like the people who are hating on Travis Hunter, like the Jordan stans who are like hating on LeBron. And I wrote like those men, those people who are the LeBron haters, they're uncomfortable, they're insecure, they're jealous, they're irrational, they're mean, and they want to. There's a lot of people who just want to steal people's joy. LeBron has been nothing but greatness in life, on and off the court. You go on social media, it would be hard to get that, to walk away with that take, because people just really mean, and just they're just malcontents on social media. So it's like the same thing with Travis Hunter. Like, you see so much more critical and content and hateful content about Travis Hunter. He's making the biggest mistake of his life. And it's like, he's just getting married, and he's okay. He's fine. He's going to be perfectly fine. And like I said, taking that step, whether it's to have kids, which I don't have kids, so I don't really know anything about that, but specifically to get married, it's a leap of faith, and it could succeed or it could fail. But you have to be comfortable with that risk. And just do the best you can, and do everything you can to help it succeed. So, like, I wrote down another point, and I was saying, like, I hope y'all have seen the movie Sinners by now. If you haven't, I'm sorry, we're spoiling things. In the movie Sinners, like, you could kind of see there's kind of like a hive mind effect to like the vampires in the movie, and it's like, I kind of see that a little bit in the Manospheric Men. It's like they don't want to get married because they're so traumatized, and they're so damaged by the experiences that the other men have gone through. They themselves have not gone through any of that. Some of them have no kids, some of them have never been married, some of them have never done both. But they're all deathly afraid. They all use the same talking points. They'll all talk about pair bonding when they didn't know that before 2021. They'll talk about body counts when, in reality, that's not going to really matter. Let's see what else. But like the thing I'm concerned about with that talking point was like with this hive mind stuff is like, these men are adults and they can't think for themselves. They got to look to other men to think for them. That's just not what I'm not cut from that cloth. Let me see some other talking points about the Travis Hunter stuff. Like, I wrote down a point saying, like, instead of berating women online, where is the work that these Manaspheric men have done to make themselves a better person? I think there was like a video that I watched maybe a couple weeks ago. I probably haven't saved it, but it's like the Manosphere has been around for a very, very long time. Slash Red Pill has been around for a very, very long time. For us, some of us, we might not have been familiar with it, but maybe like 3-4 years ago. It seems like it's been around for a decade or so. And it begs the question of like, what have these men become better people as a result of the Manosphere, the actions of the Manosphere? I doubt it. Let's see what but like I said with the Travis Hunter thing, this dude graduated with like 3.79 GPA. He's got brand deals. He's probably going to be in a situation like some of these NFL players of today where he's not going to even have to touch his salary. He's going to be able to live off endorsements. He won damn near every single award his senior year, except for maybe like the best wide receiver award. And the only thing that's being talked about is these Manaspheric men are so scared about him getting married, and it's a mistake, and it's like, no, it's not. I think one of the ways to kind of look at it again to take a different take is like he's doing it for the right intentions, and we have to maybe we'd have to like until further notice we have to kind of assume his wife is doing the same thing. Even if she's not, he's coming into it with the right intentions. He has more than enough financial means to cover this, even if it fails. And he's going to grow from this experience. Hopefully, he grows from this experience, and it's still a successful marriage that we can look at, down the line and say, here's another situation of someone who got married young and they're still together. So I wish him the best. I'll say this, let me show some other content. Let's see. Let's copy. Give me a second. So we'll probably try to keep it. I'll maybe show this one thing and then like two more things for the Travis Hunter thing. And then we'll leave it alone. Oh no. Let's see. So going back to the Travis Hunter thing, like this is kind of showing wedding pictures, Travis Hunter's wedding, and like it's a beautiful affair. Like, how do you not look at how do you look at this and just say, "Oh, he's making a mistake"? They're happy. Why can't you be happy for them? Like kind of flipping through the things. Let's see. Actually, let's put some respect on that. Some of his fellow football players in attendance. One being Shador. That's awesome to see that. I think there's only got 3 pictures on here, but it got me in my feels. I started to think about like my wedding day, and I was just like, anybody who's been married, I mean, you got to think back on like that day you got married. Like mine was not as gaudy as this wedding. He's a millionaire, probably signing like a $45 million rookie contract. But my wedding was like really, I started to think about this. I started looking at his pictures and I started to say, man, like getting married is like, it's a really beautiful situation. Just the flowers, everybody in attendance, just the moment, just the day. It just made me get in my feels of like, when I got married and I was just like, I know how this feels. I know the feeling of, what he's experiencing right now. I went through it too. So, again, like people who are like looking back on it and saying this is a mistake, they're just really negative people and fearful people. And these 2 people who got married, like they're not afraid, and I'm happy for them. Let's move off of that. Let me see. There might be like something else to show. I don't know if I want to show it. But it was gonna be like a video from like Russell Wilson's wedding to Sierra, and he was talking about how special, looking back on it, his wedding reception was, and how he had like Earth, Wind, and Fire playing at his wedding reception. And I thought about it mine, and I was like, we had this specific band that was like a really popular band. It still is a very popular band in Atlanta. And someone who I actually dated was related to one of the people who's in the band. And I was like, when I talked to people and kind of mentioned that, hey, this is a certain band that played at my wedding, people were like, oh my God, I know that band. So it's just like, there's just a lot of different moments that can happen during the wedding and the reception. And it's just like, if you've never been married, it makes me also think about these Mansfield men who are so critical and so fearful of Travis Hunter. Have they ever been married? That's one. Have they ever been in a wedding party at someone's wedding? I don't know. I'm not sure if they have. And it's like, if you are, you can't bring that type of negativity around anybody who's in Travis Hunter's family. I'll speak for myself. If I had anybody in my family being as negative as these Mansfield men have been, you're getting kicked out the wedding. You're probably getting uninvited to the wedding. That's just me. Let me see. What else? Let me see. Like, we got so many videos to show. Let me go to the comments though. Oh no. Oh boy. Wacky World. We gotta retire. We gotta leave this word in the past. We should never, as adults, we should not be using words like this. As grown men, we should not be using words like this. I think it's problematic from a lot of points of view. Like, we don't know Liana. We don't know. And this is a person that makes him happy. And we gotta it's none of our business, like I've said before. It's like we gotta be at peace with that. And we gotta leave that alone. But it's like, no, like, I think that's one of the issues I have with like social media and just like this era right now. Is like, especially like even when we were talking about Tracy Ellis Ross, it's like people are using social media to kind of like erase your whole, kind of construct a whole new reality of twisting your words and assassinating your character. It lacks, a lot of times it lacks nuance. It lacks it lacks like details of like what was actually going on, but like people get to like make their own opinion and speculate and create a whole new reality. So it's like, we don't know that, Wacky World. We don't know that, and we're judging that person. Don't do that. Let me see. Let's see. Hold on. And I want to say this before I look at like the next comment. No, we don't. Like, a lot of the stuff has been debunked. And the other thing too is, and I want you to type this. You think she's a 304? What makes her a 304? Because like I've said on the previous podcast, like a lot of men in this day and age will kind of define a woman to be a 304 if she has a certain body count. And like the Masphere, they say, oh, if she has a body count over 5, she's a 304. So I want to know your justification of like why you say she's a 304. Is it because she goes to clubs? Is it because she's got tattoos? That's one of the Manosphere tenets is like, if she's got tattoos, she's not the right woman. You shouldn't marry her. If she's got a past, you shouldn't marry her. I just want to hear you. No, I don't want to hear just we already know. No, just I want your opinion, because you're the one who said it's true. What makes it true? Just give me a short the cliff notes on it. We're not critiquing. I don't know about that, Wacky World. But the bottom line is that's his wife. So we need to be respectful of that. That's his wife. And the path that he might have went through to get married, the person who he chose might not might not resemble who you think he should marry, and it's not about you. This is who he married. This is who makes him happy. Let's see. Look at this. You have several points. A young woman is being. Why is it okay for you to do? Hold on. Let me look at this. I think he. Okay. I think I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I'm just trying to read through this. Why is it okay for you all to do that to someone, but not? Oh wait, hold on. I'm confused. I'm kind of slow with this. Why is it okay for you to do that to someone, but not for your audience to call someone a 3-4? Okay, so you're not agreeing with me. Um you have several posts that inaccurately depict a woman. What? I'm Oh, I see what you're saying. I think I see what you're saying. You might be. I'm gonna make an assumption of what you're trying to say. I think you're trying to call out maybe some of the posts that Zed has made about the woman, the pick me that she was talking about. I, Maybe that's who you're talking about. I don't know who this person you're talking about. The Zakana Corner. If that's, hopefully I'm not mispronouncing that name. I don't, if that's who you're talking about. I haven't done the research on that. Yes. Okay, the so-called pick me. Zed is the subject matter expert of that because apparently Zed, that person kind of like makes posts about Zed or whatever. So like I have to watch her videos and see what she was saying about that person, but I haven't said anything. Let's see. I really want to show stuff, but my windows are kind of like acting up. Give me a second. But oh, she says she's not a pick me. Okay. Yeah, I'm debating of like showing content. Let's see. And I got a Nintendo Switch to pick up tonight. Just FYI, like Nintendo Switch 2. Listen, I'm gonna always have respect from Zed. Always. Um, you know, but like I said, I need to do my homework on that Zakana corner. But I always say, and I always will say, like, I appreciate Zed for giving me the opportunity to get into this space, get my feet wet, whet my appetite, if you will. So, but I hear you. So, like, let me try to see. There's stuff I want to show. It's just like, wait, the windows. Hold on. Give me a second. Oh, I think I know what's going on. Maybe I don't. Yeah. Hold on one second. Yeah, so I think I'm running into like technical difficulties on this. Like, this might be. Hold on. Okay, hold up. For the first time ever, I'm running into like technical difficulties sharing stuff. This sucks. But I think. Give me a second. Let me get my bearings with this. Wait. Oh. Okay, hold up. One second. Yeah, hold up. We might have technical. Okay, I think I've figured it out. It's kind of clunky though, but let me clean up some stuff on my end. Yeah, give me a second. Just let me resolve some technical difficulties. I got too many tabs open. Okay. Hold on. Let me look at sharing again and see if it looks better. It's not really looking that great. Hold up. It's looking clunky. Hold up. One last try. I think I might have it under control. Give me a second. And maybe we can watch some content, or maybe I save it for the show. Let me try to show at least one thing. No, I think like maybe we save it for another show. I don't really like this technical difficulties going on, but I think in closing, and I'm gonna head out to like the Nintendo Switch 2 release. I'm starting to really. I need to come more with less technical difficulties for next time for sure. But like, what I want to say is like, I'm starting to increasingly get kind of concerned about like how the manosphere is really like a rebranded men's rights activist um, initiative. Men's rights activism has been around for a long time. It never gets traction because, I hate to say it, you know, dudes don't care, but dudes really don't. Dudes can't get traction with the traditional talking points of men's rights activists, where they're saying, "Hey, men don't have as many shelters as women, or men." Let me see what some of the other ones like the child support, or you can go to jail for child support. Mind you, only 40% of black men are on child support, and 14% of that 40 actually go to jail. So they'll scream about, "Oh my God, black men are going to jail." There's a lot of hoops to go to jail. But like a lot of the men's rights activists, like the manosphere is like it's like a um, it's a place where a lot of different separate groups coalesce together. You have the pickup artists who bricked about a year, maybe like a decade and a half ago. I used to listen to like a podcast called like The Art of Charm, and it's like they were focused on, hey, we're gonna show you how to date. We're gonna try to it was really from an angle of like, we want you to accentuate who you truly are. We want you to be the best version of yourself. We're gonna show you how to have more effective approaches in dating or approaching women, talking to women, blah blah blah. That's not what they're doing in the manosphere. The manosphere, it's all about, let's try to get you to let's show you the tactics to sleep with more women. So like the underlying theme of the manosphere, one of the biggest tenets is like, these guys are sexually frustrated. Yeah, I agree. Let's go to that talking point. I know I'm getting kind of off my point. Men don't have as many shelters. That's a fact. That's a facsimile. Uh, that's a whole fact. That's a Snapple fact. Men have to sign up for selective service to get financial aid for called. To be a toy for. Whoa. Okay. I'm glad I'm clicking on this because like I want to do some research about this. I don't know if this is true. Yeah. I mean, listen. This is getting to some good conversation. Not this one, but this one. Listen. Um, we'll maybe talk about it from a different stream, but this is bringing up a good point. There are men who who get essayed by other men or women, and society does not. First and foremost, before I get into that point, because I'm not reading the whole thing, I'm now seeing the whole thing. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I just saw the second point of this. I'm sorry that happened to you, and I'm really disappointed in like how society does not really, it makes like men getting essayed as a joke. That's not a joke. To your point, men can get essayed. Society And male culture doesn't really create that opportunity for men to speak up about this and be heard, be respected. Um, and I want those things to change. Ben Vlogs. I want that to change. Men's rights activists want that to change too, but I think MRAs slash men's rights activists, they know that they're up there going against other men to actually get that into the zeitgeist, to actually get men to care about that. And they know that most men don't care about what men are going through, that when they go through situations like that, they don't care enough to try to make change for the people who are actually going through those things, or the people who are actually hurting. Um, so so a lot of the men's rights activists initiatives, they fall on deaf ears because men they don't really support each other to make change. They're very individualistic. So similar with this manosphere. I hate to go off your story. I'm gonna get back to it in a second. The men's rights activists, they're kind of monetizing men's right activism. They don't. Anton Daniels doesn't give a shit about men going to jail for child support. He's not going to campaign. He's not going to do anything to try to change that. He's just going to bring that up to tug on your heartstrings and get you to hate women. The fact that men can go to jail for child support has nothing to do with women. Men voted that into law. They had the power to do that. So like when men make this point about men built the world, you made the laws too, but you're blaming women for them. But but yeah, I mean, going back to it, it's like SA is not a I just want to make this clear. Like I said, I'll make it clear again. I do care about the people who are victims. I've said on this stream, these videos, maybe last year from time to time, in this manosphere, there are men who are truly hurting. There are men who they might not understand that they've really gotten chewed up by this economy. They've gotten chewed up by the patriarchy. Yeah, Ben Vlogs. I'd really love to talk to you like maybe another night. I got technical difficulties, and like I said, I'm an artist, and I'm really sensitive about my shit. So I might have to like end this stream early after but I'd love to talk to you about this, or just any in general. But like I said, I'm sorry that you went through that. I'm really sorry that you went through that. If you want to join the panel, let me know. I got a little bit of time. But like if not, we could talk about it another day. But it's just like I said, I'm so sorry that you went through that. And I want to say to this too, I'm sure other women feel the same way, that just like that there are a lot of women who say that men getting essayed is not funny. It's a real thing. And just like, and on the other side of the coin, there's a lot of men, and there's a lot of women that that joke about it and just don't take it seriously. And that's, if we want to see change in the world, Ben Vlogs, we're going to have to move away from traditional values. Traditional values have not made room for men who are violated to have their voice be heard. It doesn't give room for people who are LGBTQ to be accepted. It doesn't give room for men who fail to be sole providers to be respected. It doesn't give room for women to be anything other than a homemaker and a stay-at-home wife, or wife in the traditional sense. And I think I'm at kind of like a crossroads with it, because it's like these traditional values are really kind of holding us back as a country. But like I said, like, I'm thankful. I appreciate you for sharing that, Ben Vlogs. Like I said, I can't say it enough. Like, I'm very sorry that you went through that. Um, like I said, that's I'm trying to just think of what to say, but it's just like I said, I've said before, it's like the culture of men are not going to the men's rights activists really could have come at this in an angle with sympathy, with empathy, and said, hey, men are hurting because of X, Y, and Z. These are the changes we want to see. And some of these changes don't have anything to do with dating. Some of these changes have nothing to do with women. If we need more shelters for men, let's make the case for that without having to slam women, without having to uh, police their body counts. That has nothing to do with men's rights activism, but these men's rights, but this manosphere allows them to play in these different worlds. They get to play in the men's rights activism and say, "Hey, don't you care about this? Men need more shelters. Men's voices are not being heard. Men don't have the same safety nets." Like I said in the last stream, I'm all for men getting more safety nets, but I'm not supporting it if these dudes. I'm not going to be doing anything to support it if these dudes are going to be also making rage bait content. They can do it on their own if that's the way they want to go about it. They need to stick to the facts. They need to kind of shut up and dribble, as some people would say. I know it's kind of problematic to say that, but I'm just, like I said, like, I'm glad for you to share that, Blend Vlogs, because like it's stuff like that like if we had more people come and just share things that they were going through. Like, I think I'll end it maybe with like, I really want to talk about Black fatigue on this live. I just don't feel comfortable with the technical difficulties that's going on with me. There's like maybe two banners I'm going to talk about. It's like, and I'll talk about this like later on another stream. It's like they have this saying, don't criticize the incels, don't criticize these modern men, or when these men have these harsh opinions of Black women or women in general, or dating, or modern women. Don't discount their experiences. I'm sorry, I'm not giving them that grace anymore, because like I said a little earlier in the stream, I don't think these men really have a lot of real experiences, because they're using the same talking points. The people that they're dating just happen to resemble the same thing, and across race too. And it's like, Black men and Black women exist in different, you know, groups. They have different opportunities. They have different They have different opportunities. Like I said, white people are married like 56% of the time. Their babies are born in wedlock like 75% of the time. Black communities, Black people are probably married 35% of the time, and they're born out of wedlock. They're born in wedlock like 25%, 20-ish, 25% of the time. So it's like, I have a problem with this manosphere where it's creating this hive mind mentality of, we're all in this together. We all can't get dates. We all can't get wives. All of our women, they're not worth marrying. Wait, in the Black community, when like only 30% of Black women are married, they're all not, the remaining 70 are not worth getting married to? Are you serious? And that's the kind of problem I have with like the manosphere, is like, they're not questioning like every single thing that's wrong in your life. It's a woman's fault. It's feminists' fault. Every woman that has anything to say about problematic men, she's a feminist. Everything that went wrong in the world is because of feminism. It doesn't allow, the manosphere men they're not really using critical thinking. They're creating like a victim mindset, and you're not gonna be able to grow out of that. And I think one of the things I wanted to say too, I'll go to like this talking point, and then I'll do maybe like one other talking point that, like, I touched upon this a little earlier about like how the manosphere is like comprised of like multiple different groups: pickup artists, incels, racists, nationalists. We're not going to tell you which kinds. You can do the math. misogynist, chauvinist, deadbeat dads. Who else? The men's right activists, pickup artists if I haven't already said it. Um, and probably like people with some serious mental health issues. And they're all coming together to trauma bond and use women as an excuse for society being where it is, marriage, opportunities to date being where it is. When the true reality, when if I feel like if they were being honest, is they don't make a lot of money, or they're not very good people, and or they hold on to values um that are antiquated, just that are old, that just sometimes society moves past you. It should never be that case, because you should be always improving. You should be always moving forward. But there are some like legit people that society is moving past them. I know I went to like Carson City, Nevada. I worked there for like a year or two, like 2 years. And it was it was like a flash from the past. Like it was like, this is not representative of like current life. Like you could, like, it was probably like 2% black, and not a lot of other minorities being represented. And it's just like some people, want that reality. Like if you go over in Atlanta and you go to like Roswell, you'll kind of see similar stuff. You'll barely see black people, and it's just like these traditional values, they really should only extend to like your lifestyle and maybe your family. And what people are doing is they're trying to use religion, and they're trying to use traditional values, really white supremacist values, to try to normalize that and make that the standard for everybody. And use it as political talking points. If you want traditional values, have at it, have a ball, have a blast, like Joe Budden would say. But that should not impact anyone else's life. That's just your life that it should impact. Have all the traditional values you want. If you want to have your house that looks like the 80s, decorate like it's the 80s. The whole town, the whole country does not need to look like it's the 80s. And that's what I kind of see with the traditional values. Is like life has to move forward, not stay still. And I'll touch up on that like maybe in another talking point in the next live. Like I said, I'll apologize again, like the technical difficulties. This is like a first for me. This is trash. I hate it. I hate it here. But like I said, the positive, I'll be on time for this Nintendo Switch 2 launch. I wasn't expecting that. But and I had so much to show, but I just don't feel comfortable showing it with the technical difficulties I'm running into. But like again, I spoke about this, like the real true reality is the economy is kind of like choking people out. Everybody's feeling it. There was a story that came out like within the last week saying Atlanta and a lot of other most major cities are no longer predominantly black because of like gentrification. Because there's stories maybe in the last week or two saying like disproportionately black women were affected by some of these recent job losses, I think due to AI or something like that. And you know what? The manosphere was cheering about it. They're horrible people, so I don't know what to say about that. But it's just like the economy. Go back to the point. The economy is like choking these people out. It really is. And I just need to say that. Like that's the space. That's the space I want for people Ben vlogs. I want men specifically to be able to come out and say, "Hey, I'm going to therapy," and not be judged about it. "Hey, I'm a stay-at-home dad," and not be judged about it, because different households have different situations. What else? I might have been SA'd, and and we should be able to create space for people to share that story and not be judged. Hey, I'm LGBTQ, or I came out, and not be judged. I think I might have said on the last podcast, like, I really feel it was not the last podcast. I think it was This Might Be Risky, which I wanted to show some content from that. I'll do it on the next one. I was like, I really think that Black men might be fighting harder for patriarchy than any other race, and we don't have the funds to justify it. But I think one of the tenets of patriarchy, or just like the white supremacy, is like it makes you feel it tries to embolden you to feel like you are better than someone. For some people, that might be LGBTQ. For some people, that might be Black people. For some people, that might be immigrants. For some people, that might be women. And if you're one of those people, like I said, I can't understand how. I was on the This Must Be Risky podcast, and someone, Black conservative, said, I got no problem. Even my red pillar best friend says the same shit. He says, I got no problem with gay people. I just don't want them coming. But I have a problem with it's a problem when they start coming for rights and start trying to change laws. And I'm like, these are people, and what these conservatives, what these Black MAGA people will do is they'll try to invalidate them as people, saying, I think it's a choice. I don't think they are, fit to read to our kids. But then when they make that talking point of, I don't want gay people reading to my kids, I don't want drag queens reading to my kids. Do you read to kids? We already know the answer. You don't. But in closing, I'm gonna say this. Like I said, I'm starting to become kind of weary about the manosphere. It's really men's rights activism. It's really just Black fatigue. It was Black fatigue the whole time. We just didn't have a word for it, and they didn't have the balls to come out and say it. These were people who were tired of the Black culture. And the woman who I was dating kind of said something, saying, because it was like, the last couple of weeks, these stories of people from New Orleans were graduating from high school and doing their typical jigging dance at graduations, and people would try to misrepresent it and just say it's ghetto, say it's this, it's that, it's derogatory or whatever. Or, look, these are future, people in our, these are future leaders of our country. These are future, these are going to be people in our society, working at our jobs. It's like, just because they're dancing, that doesn't mean you know anything about them. But they try, like I said, like social media, they try to like misrepresent you and try to assassinate your character. They don't look at the good that you're doing. They don't look at the things that you're achieving. They just try to misrepresent things through social media clips to try to like slander you. But what I was trying to go with that was like, the woman who I was dating was saying, like, society has a problem with seeing Black people experience joy. It's like we always have to come out looking angry and curmudgeon-y and surly and stuff like that. But like when we are celebrating, when we are rejoicing, when we're truly happy, like I go back to Travis Hunter. It's like Travis Hunter is like the embodiment of like Black boy joy. Like, I'm so happy to see like him, accomplish things and be happy. It's like when people say like it couldn't happen to a better person. Like Travis Hunter is like one of those people. But I kind of like, in closing, kind of say, I was talking to the woman who I'm dating just before this live stream, and saying, this country needs the white supremacists, the incels, the men's rights activists, the manosphere, the red pillars, for some type of reason, for some type of objective. I don't think we know what it is. I don't think they know what it is. But whatever I'm putting my tinfoil hat on. Pure tinfoil. When they accomplish that, they're going to discard those people. And I was kind of making this analogy, this like joke that I'll just maybe talk about in the next live stream when I flush it out. But it's just like, these people don't understand that they're being used as a tool to push politics, to bring down society, maybe even just as a smoke screen, or just, like I said, set up something really, really bad for the near future. But it's just like, it's just really sad to see like adult grown men and like young men, um, people who are younger than the high school age just being indoctrinated and brainwashed and being used as a tool to make the world or just this country a really horrible place. A place that like doesn't seems like it's going in a direction that doesn't value empathy anymore. And that's so sad. Um so like in closing, I hope y'all have a great week. If you haven't seen Sinners, go see it. Kind of shame on you if you haven't seen it by now, but go see it because like some people are not movie people. I get it, so like that they got an excuse. But go see Sinners, and like I said, I'll try to like come back next time without the technical difficulties. This was like a first for me. This was disappointing that, but like I said, we'll see you in the next one. All right, take care.